Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Arm Nation. Now this week, it's been a crazy week. We have a lot of news this week. I'm gonna cover a couple of topics. We recently have a massive assault weapons ban bill. Basically, it's just an old bill, but they added a bunch of stuff to it. And this bill is pretty dangerous because it bans anything with a detachable magazine, which basically means they want to ban all semi-automatics. Obviously, all the Democrats are gonna pass this bill, and then all they need is around 10 Republican or so to pass the bill. So yeah, this gonna go into effect. I don't know when they're gonna all vote on this, but it's a pretty dangerous bill. So make sure you contact your congressman, your representative, and tell them to pretty much back off of this bill, or you're going to vote for the opposition on the next election. Recently, we got a mall shooting in Indiana. Luckily, we have a good Samaritan armed, and he took the shot and took down the perpetrators. Majority of the mainstream media, they don't want to cover this news because, you know, there's a good guy with a gun. And some of them even go as far as, you know, oh, this guy is violating a law. He carried a gun inside a mall. So he too is a perpetrator for some sort. You know, it's crazy that these anti-gunner, they want more victims. They went on to accuse him of violating some kind of law. The truth is you can carry a gun wherever you want as long as you have the proper paperwork. State law doesn't prohibit you from carrying into a mall. But, you know, if a private citizen asks you to leave, if they saw you concealed carry or some sort, then you have to leave, but you're not violating any kind of law. So on the other news, you know, we have this massive uprising of the LGBT, whatever letters they're gonna add next week, or at least the mainstream media make it out to be, you know, something like everybody should focus on, but really there's not a lot of people doing this. It's just that the mainstream media and the government, they want to push this out to everybody to, you know, get everybody to fight each other and stuff like that. But back in my day, this community, they're very peaceful. They not, they don't do the crazy stuff they did today, you know, like full naked, in front of kids, in parades and stuff like that. They don't do this kind of stuff back then. But today, you know, you see all kind of lawlessness, indecency, but the cops is not doing anything, you know, like they're exposing themselves to the kids, you know, like a whole bunch of kids on the street, but, you know, it's pride parade. So that's sort of get you thinking like, what's going on here? Why isn't the government doing anything? It's because the government is doing it. They want to indoctrinate your kids into being so fragile so that you can't fight back. The gun ban, and they don't want your kid to be so masculine and stuff like that. There's a reason for that, because they want us, the people, to be so fragile and rely on the government. So they don't want people who fought back. Also, they want to push this on everybody because they don't want us to focus on the real things. That is, the economy is failing, the inflation. So they want to get us all thinking something else, you know, beside the policy that they put in the Biden administration that is bringing down this country. So there's still a lot of good people out there, but I think the good people need to speak up, you know, like this is not them, this is not what their community is about. But I do see some people starting to speak out, but not a whole lot, you know. I want to see more people speaking out because the mainstream media and the government, they're taking advantage of this group. So I have to bring this operation indoor because my camera is overheating. Now the last part of this video is that I want to talk about the war in Ukraine, and it's continued to escalate. Now NATO continue to escalate this war because they continue to send more and more. The Russian, I'm sure they're not going to stand idle by and see all this heavy equipment going to Ukraine. And eventually something's going to happen. If you go back to history, World War I, World War II, it all started out with the proxy wars, you know, like fighting back and forth behind the scene, the war is starting to spread, and this is history repeating itself. So I advise you to get your prep ready, especially your food. The easiest food prep is to get some rice and beans. Those things pretty much lasted forever. So and they're not that much expensive. Now, if you have the capital, I advise you to go further than that. Get some freeze-dried food, but make sure you at least test out those freeze-dried food to make sure you like them. You don't want to eat something that is nasty. And canned food, canned food can last pretty much forever too. So also make sure you try them out before you buy a whole bunch of them. And of course, your water filter is very important. Now, if you want to see how things goes when SHTF, just look at some of the documentary of the Venezuelan, because their country is falling apart and they have a Great Depression, inflation. So you might want to look into that, and recently Sri Lanka, they also have a failed economy and there's an uprising in their country. But of course, the mainstream media, they don't want to talk about that, because those are like socialist haven for these leftists here in America. They love socialism, and it's a socialist country that's starting to fail, and that just proves that they're very wrong about that. I'm starting to see country is falling apart. Even over in Europe, Germany right now, they have shortages of gas because they cut themselves off from the gas, because the Russian is the one that supply them gas. But being so smart, they cut their own supplies of gas, and they're telling everybody we shouldn't use air conditioner, we shouldn't drive too much. But these elitists, they're flying on private jets, private yachts, and do all kind of shit. Now these hypocrites, they're the one that polluted the earth, but they're telling us that we should cut back on our usage. I hope they all find peace in Ukraine, but this war, nobody is stepping back. The Ukrainian president, he's not stepping back. Putin is not stepping back. Nobody's coming to a deal. Everybody wants everything, and the reality is that Ukraine can't do jack shit without NATO heavy equipment. We're not gonna see peace anytime soon. It's just that I have a really bad feeling about all this. What's going on here? Shit gonna hit the fan sooner or later, and I don't want it to. Hopefully everything's get back to normal, but this war in Ukraine is going to continue to escalate, and there could be consequences for all of us civilian, not the military, not the government. They're fine. They got the bunker to go to, but for the rest of us, we're just sitting ducks out here. So hopefully, if everything goes right, we can help our own government to its lawlessness, breaking all kind of law by supporting Ukraine. They're shipping all this heavy weaponry, and Ukraine is not even our allies, believe it or not. But the mainstream media will tell you otherwise. They're not our allies. They're not our responsibility. They haven't done really anything beneficial to the U.S. government. But I'm fine with people supporting Ukraine on your own dimes, but don't make your entire country to support a country that we do not really care for, because I know people with, relative or friends over in Ukraine. That's totally fine. But, don't tell your entire country to go to war with them, because it has nothing to do with us. Once again, get all your prep ready, get your food supply in checks, and if you don't have a firearm, get one and get some ammo. Now here's the thing, I've seen a lot of new gun buyer, they bought like a gun and a box of 20 defensive round and just sitting in a corner. That's not how you do things here. If SHTF come, you're gonna have to deal with more than one people, and 20 round is not enough. I do recommend like 1,000 round per caliber. That might seem a lot, but you have to get your training in check. It doesn't have to be every week or every month. Right now you can probably go by with training like once a couple of months. It's doable, but as long as you put a lot of round downrange, then you're okay. That's all I got for you guys this video. I'm just want to spread awareness about what's going on out there, because we have a lot going on this week. So technically it's still summer, So do yourself a favor, get out there, go on a short vacation. It doesn't have to be far, there's a lot of cool places within your own state. So check that out and get away from it all. So that's all I have, you guys. And remember, if anybody asks you, are you armed? Tell them no. You're armed AF. Peace out.